All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Connecting Live, a socialization space for students. I am Tanya Farron, the owner of Creative Living Ideas. I'm here with Richard Lowenthal, the founder of Go Brunch. So we're here today to talk to you about a socialization space for students. And this is not my normal Monday night thing. And so Richard and I are doing a special edition to it. It's not parent to parent. It's not the 2350 effect. It's none of those things. This is a special connection episode for us to have. So those of you that are new to this space and to me, my name is Tanya, and I am the owner of Creative Living Ideas. And it is a company, a business that we do professional development. We do two large events a year, one coming up very soon called the Virtual Wellness Experience. Then we have one in October, the Work-Life Balance Summit. I also am the co-host of the 2350 Effect, the host of Parent to Parent, as well as the co-founder of the 2350 Network. With all of that being said, I was introduced to Richard through all of this fun time and have been able to learn more about his product, Go Brunch. So Richard, introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you. And it's great to have you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Tanya. It's an honor. But I'm an entrepreneur. I love starting businesses and I love creating things. I have a business school for adults, a little bit different for supply chain executives. I do have Go Brunch, which is a platform that people belong. I try to make people to belong more. We're going to talk about it. I launched last year an award for creators. And I have a new tool that is about SEO, but it's something as like a side project right now. And yes, I love creating stuff, and really happy that we found some time to chat about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the things that you've done. I've loved getting to know you and learning more about you. And let me explain to you guys how I met Richard. So a little bit just through the 2350 network and my work with Damian Kinsey. We use Go Brunch as our collaborative space for our network. And do you mind if I show it for just 1 second, Richard?
Oh, please do.
Okay, let me show you guys what this space looks like. A lot of you are curious about the 2350 network, and this is one of the spaces. There's a bunch of different rooms in here, and I'll let Richard kind of give a tour, but this is our space, our virtual space for our network that we utilize. Do you want to tell them a little bit about what this space looks like?
I love it, right? Because I think the first thing that I know that you and Damien worked a lot is to create a certain type of identity, right? Like a branding. And I love the colors because all your rooms have the same color, the same sort of, the same type of environment. Yeah, I love that. And it's definitely you feel like, it's inside of the same world. It's your world, right? And your world, and because it's your world, it has your personality. And that's something that, it's really amazing to see. I remember the first version of Go Brunch was way simpler. There was no option for you to customize colors. It was just like some simple backgrounds that you could use. But I was already telling people, hey, you know what? This is interesting, guys, because you can just feel like you're surrounding with more people. The thing is, some people understand, some people say, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And that's the challenge that I started to face, because one of the things that I learned is I started to attract people that are more like me, who are looking to belong, right? And in my mind, and I think this happens a lot to many people, is that we think that everyone is like us. We assume like our mind is, everyone will enjoy something like that. And it's just like, we are starting, naturally, we are finding our way.
Hmm. Exactly. And so, when we started the 2350 network, Damien had said, we have our own campus. And I said, what does that mean? And he shared with me Go Brunch. And, we use this campus that Richard has created and developed in order for us to host our meetings in here. And since then, and we've had the network about a year and a half now, coming up on 2 years, and we use the space for our meetings that we have 4 or 5 times a month. We don't have to send out Zoom links. It's a live link that's out, and it's only for our members, and they can go to it and hang out whenever they want to. They don't have to have other third-party software to use. And it's a welcoming, warm space. As you can see, when I opened up all those rooms, right, there's a variety of different spaces, including my own office that has an ocean view. So that's one of my favorite things. I created that space with AI. But the reason that we've got Richard on here tonight is because, through getting to know him and this space, I've been intrigued to learn more about him. And then he's been, I think, intrigued to learn about some of the things that I do as well. And so, for example, I am a middle school principal. I'm a virtual middle school principal. And so, my students school from home. I've been a principal in person, been a principal virtually, all the way from kindergarten to high school. And Richard and I started talking about some of the things that we've noticed from children. And some of the things that we've noticed were a common theme of kids wanting to belong, right? And Richard kind of we've in the times that we've been talking, has, created some or dug up some statistics a little bit about that. Do you want to share some of those statistics that you've learned about?
Yeah, they are very, very impactful. What happened is that right after the pandemic, we started to see a lot of teenagers using Go Brunch to kind of connect with themselves. And sometimes they would say, "Oh, I'm connecting with old friends here," right? And they were like 13 years old, which is crazy. But anyways, that was something really unexpected, because I created Go Brunch for adults, and we started to see a lot of teenagers using Go Brunch for meetings, and that's the way that we started to learn a little bit more about this specific audience that we had, what exactly they're looking for. And one of the things that we found is that many of them, they were feeling lonely, they were feeling sad because they are at home, their parents they're not there. And that's where we started to, okay, let's grab some statistics, right? And talking to you, we found, like, for example, that 65% of online students, especially the ones that are enrolled on virtual schools, they're reported feeling isolated to a certain degree, 65%, right, which is a huge number. And 38% say they reduce social connection is one of the main downsides of online learning, right? And that's definitely something that happens, right? If you're just learning online, it's very difficult for you to connect with your friends, just like you are used to in a in-person place, in campus.
Yeah, exactly. And there are an age group, that we've been talking about, and one of the age groups is that middle school, that middle teenage area. And that's the age group that you noticed during the pandemic that was coming to Go Brunch and socializing with kids of like age. And this is the age group of kids that are by themselves at home during the day, at night. The parents say they're old enough to be by themselves. High schoolers, they've got cars, they've got jobs probably, or other extracurricular activities. So they're out of the house a little more. Elementary, they've got mom and dad toting them around. That middle school group of kids is kind of stuck in that middle. And, that's where we start seeing some depression or excessive use of digital tools to keep them occupied. And there's some statistics in addition to this. It's that 20% of 13 to 17-year-olds worldwide, which is the highest age group, are reporting feeling lonely. And those who are 22% more likely to receive lower grades. And so the loneliness epidemic, it's an epidemic for sure for a lot of kids. They feel lonely. And I do know, and I really try to keep my day job and my night, my creative living ideas separate, but I can't help but share that, when I'm in person, in virtual person with a student, and we do a social time like a lunch with kids, they don't want us to leave. They're like, this is fun, don't stop. And we're just talking about whatever. They're showing us their pets, they're telling us a story, showing us a book they're reading, just wanting to talk and have that social interaction. So I know that creating this social space for students is super important, and there's also the rate of depression, suicide among this age is huge. And so trying to find a platform or a place for your kids to go, I think would be really important. Also, the digital desert effect. Statistics are showing that while 93.1% of parents believe their teens have adequate support, 40% of teens report they're not getting the social and emotional connection they need, which
Mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm.
challenging, for them. And, loneliness is a direct predictor of academic burnout, with online learning or any learning, and even increasing a student's social presence. Can reduce and relieve stress. So important. What are some of your thoughts about that, Richard, and kind of your mission on seeking out ways to help other people with this product?
Yeah, like it's unbelievable, right? Like I started to go brunch because I was working from home, probably for the first time, and I was feeling lonely, right? And I was just like browsing on LinkedIn and say, I cannot speak in real time to anyone. There
Mm-hmm.
was no audio event back in time, right? Like this was before pandemic, I think in 2018 or 19, and was just like the beginning of it. I was just like, okay, there there must be something better to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And now checking the statistics that you shared, yeah, it's just like if you are home and the pattern. One of the patterns that we found is they are at their bedroom, they are using computer schools, and many times, like if they don't have a chance to socialize with their friends, which is very difficult, right? Because the homeschooling is, again, it's way more focused on content. It's not focused on socialization, right? That's the challenge that we have. And I think that they're looking, how can I do something, how can I meet people?
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the winter, right, we cannot leave home. And yeah, and then it comes, you start to see like depression, a lot of mental health problems. And that's where I think belonging takes place, because if we are able to provide a certain space where they feel like they belong, they feel like, okay, people here are actually nice. And this is a big challenge, right? Because many times people are rude, or they need it needs a certain moderation. That's the truth. Needs a moderation. But once you provide a moderation, then if they feel like comfortable, they start to unleash a lot of potential, like creativity. They are more creative, they start to have ideas. It's very interesting how you feel better once you feel like you belong somewhere.
Yes, I love that. That's amazing. It's so true. You really do, right? Finding your people is a great way to kind of say that. Finding people with like interests and like-minded is so important. So those of you that are in the audience, if you want to drop in the chat, I see that Jackie has joined us. Thank you, Jackie, for being here. We greatly appreciate you. And sometimes, y'all, I don't see your comments until afterwards, so I apologize, but drop in the chat anytime that you want a question that you have for us or Richard, and some of your thoughts or ideas about creating a socialization space for kids. Not all kids are gamers. My kids were never gamers. We had games. We had the Wii. We had, the Nintendos and all of the Nintendo DSs and that sort of thing. And my kids played on them here and there, but they really didn't do that. And so I know that some kids can socialize through their gaming systems and play games with other kids, but for those kids that don't want to do that, or that don't have, their parents don't have the kind of money to purchase those gaming systems for them, how can Go Brunch help them,
Yeah, that's what we have been discussing, right? Because
Mhm.
right now, what is the name of that game that many kids they play? Roblox,
Yeah,
right? Roblox.
right.
Yeah, and Roblox, it's it can be something nice because you get, they say it's very addicting, but at the same time, it's a little bit toxic because there is no moderation,
Hmm.
right? And then we have a lot of kids using and playing, but many times, yeah, people can be offensive, and
Hmm.
it's not like super cool place for you to be. And what I think it would be way better if you could create a space that is moderated, right, with tutors and with really nice events. Where they can see like, oh, there's something going on today. There is like a karaoke, or there is, right? And because they love this kind of, oh, let's draw together, let's play music, let's see, let's do like a music contest. This is the kind of things that many of these folks they like. um, in Go Brunch, it seems like the kids that usually use is more like the creative ones, not
Hmm.
like the ones who like to play chess, as much as there's a mix. But it's really interesting to see how they, sometimes they are drawing and everyone is they're watching, oh, let me see what you're drawing. And yeah, I think this is a kind of, I don't know, living space that the world needs.
Hmm. I agree with that too. And so share some of your ideas, those of you. And if you're watching this on replay, there were some glitches, just to be honest, with certain sessions that were set up. So if you're catching this on replay, please drop in some ideas that you have or thoughts, because Richard and I are thinking that some of these spaces would be really nice for kids to have, and to host some events in there for them. Like, Richard said, some celebration pieces for them, where they're going to learn about something sometime. Oh, I want to go into this space. I'm going to learn about a career, or I'm going to be able to go in and share my artwork. Kids love to share their artwork, and talk about that. And artwork being, and I know this age group of kids, this 13 to 17-year-old age group, they love to do things like crocheting and hanging out together and doing that. That's like, not a grandma trend anymore. That's a teen trend. They love, doing crafts together, and drawing and talking about their games, what they like to do, sharing videos. And the thing that I love about Go Brunch, and I'm going to pull this space back up again for us just to look at it. And again, this is the professional one. These spaces can be created, and Richard can speak to that a little bit better, but there's fun little things that you can do in here. Now mine isn't, I need to sign in or something differently, but I'll have to have Richard help me with that. But
Yeah.
I can't get, but you can get the GIFs up, and you can do different funny little images, and you've got your thumbs up, and you can change your camera to look differently, which is nice to be able to do. There's options to present on here. So there's so many different ways that you can utilize it, and you can create all of these spaces to be what you need them to be also for you. Yeah, I think there's
Yeah,
just
I usually say
ways.
that it's like an extension of your house, right? Like it's
Yeah.
extension of whatever you have. And in our case, it's the extension of our home office. And yeah, like if I'm working a lot, I'm in my virtual office, and it becomes a little bit more natural for people to join and say, hey, Richard, I have a question, or just stop it by to say a hi. And yeah, it's just something a little bit more natural because you're already there.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't want all these teenagers in your house, you can just have them in the Go Brunch room.
Right.
And they're still socializing, and it can look like your family room. But drop in some of the ways that you think that kids can utilize this, that families could utilize this, schools can utilize this. When we're looking at other virtual schools, how can they use it? How can a Girl Scouts or a Boy Scouts community can use a space like this? It's a really great way to be able to grab a group of kids together. It's appealing. You can make the images whatever you want it to be. They can work on badges together. You don't always have a gathering space to be in person, or you want to add an additional meeting or something with your kids. There's so many different ways that you can use this space to create belonging for kids. And we just think that it's unlimited, really. And every time Richard and I talk, we think about a new place or space or how kids can utilize this.
Yes, absolutely. I think this is the project that we are working on because, again, thinking about a moderated co-working space for kids with tutors and setting up events, as I mentioned, and many different attractions, I think it's a very, very good way for these schools to get some help in this socialization challenge that they are facing. And this is something that, yeah, we are planning together. But yeah, if any school is interested to learn more about it, yeah, connect with Dr. Tanya, because yeah, we can definitely think about ways to improve like engagement. And one of the things that we found out, right, Dr. Tanya, is that the socialization actually impacts on retention. And retention is something that schools are always dealing with, right? Especially homeschooling, because yeah, they really want to retain their students. And yeah, really challenging for achieving this today if they're just providing online classes. And this is definitely something that should be addressed.
Right. And so many schools, and I will tell you there's so many in-person schools that also have a virtual option for their kids. And this is a great space for them. To have in their schools, and reach out to us and let us know, because we want to help you develop something like this and use it. And we're giving examples, but the sky is kind of the limit, honestly, because there's a variety of ways that you could use it. Like we said, being able to put some different spaces in. I'm going to open up, I think this might be, I can hear in the background, I apologize. But I just want to show just an image of this. This is, and I'll drop the YouTube link in here as well. This is the Go Brunches YouTube channel. And this is check out Anime City, which is what you provided for kids during COVID, right?
Right. This is something that came from them, and we just provided like a space, and we said, oh, if you want to do something, there has to be some certain level of moderation. It was a very interesting experience. And but yeah, usually they are inside of the rooms and just chatting between that. And the Anime City was just like a side project for a common area if they don't knew each other. And yeah, Angela was here running this project, helping everything. And this, I think, it was one of the initial backgrounds that we had. It was interesting because we created like a museum of anime art, and they could like check out like anime artwork. And yeah, there's all sort of attractions. You could like watch videos together, and the main attraction was like kind of a public space where they can meet new people. But there wasn't one clear rule, which was they had to be really nice. They have to say hi to everyone. Right. And I
Nice.
remember at the beginning, people were like, no, why should I say nice? And I think it took like 1 week and a half. After that, everyone was like reading each other, which is very important, right? And say,
Yeah.
hey, hi, Dr. Tanya. Hi, Angela. Hi. And
Yeah.
this is it's really nice one, because this is, in my opinion, exactly what culture is.
Yes, right. Building community and culture and a socialization place for kids. I love that. Are these arrows? Let me see. Are these arrows like I'm going a portal to go into this space, a portal to go into this space? Is that what those are?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think the middle arrow was for taking you to the museum. And then yeah, this one here, I don't even remember, but each one of them, they have like a different function. and you would be able to like, yeah, navigate different areas.
Yeah. And so then kids feel like they're kind of popping in and out of different spaces, the coffee shop, the art museum, here and there. And so they're going on a little adventure while they're hanging
Yeah.
out with each other and socializing. And I think that's incredible. I wanted to show the Anime City just for a moment, just so people could see kind of more of a kid, friendly looking atmosphere and the things that can be done to be able to, you know, would say speak to the appeal of a teen, right?
Mm-hmm.
hmm Yeah. So I love this opportunity of these digital student lounges. And so,
Yes.
yeah. So how would somebody, what would the first thing they would do, Richard, if they said, you know what, Richard, I really want this for my school? What would the first thing that they would
Yeah, I
do?
think they could get in touch with you, get in touch with Dr. Tanya, say, hey, I'm interested in having like this kind of co-working experience or like a virtual campus, right? And we can design together, right, with her experience, which is way higher than ours in terms of education. We can design a specific environment and with tutors and everything together. And yeah, that's definitely like a very powerful competitive advantage that you can have.
hmm
Oh, Josh is here. Hello, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Good to
Thanks for
see.
joining.
Yeah, he was just mentioning I don't see you anymore on LinkedIn. Oh, here I am after
Here
I
he
don't know.
is, Josh.
Yeah.
I've been keeping him busy. We've been brainstorming and thinking about what a fun space this is for kids to be able to use and be social, whether it be during the day, in the afternoons, early evenings, weekends, whatever is most appealing. And there's lots of opportunities for families. It's not just like I said, doesn't as schools are great. That's a great place to start, but there's other organizations, groups, church groups that have youth groups. All of those things can be, you can host and have virtual spaces. Again, if you're interested or you're thinking about that, let me know, because I'd be happy to talk to Richard about it. We can kind of brainstorm some things that you would want in your space and how you would want it to be, and we can work on that together. And that would be really, really very cool. Probably we would talk to you about how that can come to fruition for you, which would be really great. And again, kids are going to love it. You already said that you had great success without even, really pushing it out. Honestly, you just kind of made it available and you had kids coming back and coming back. Right, Richard?
Right, right. Again, I think this is something that um, I don't know why nobody is doing it, right? Because it's obvious that it's something that everyone needs. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna have more schools and like different living areas where they can just navigate, and that's definitely something that we are looking forward to.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be really fun. Well, I am definitely looking forward to learning more about it and, helping people create their spaces that they, are going to be able to utilize and how they're going to be able to utilize it the best of their ability. And so give us a call, do some brainstorming with us. I always say that kids are my jam. That's where my heart always is, these kids. And, to go back to the harsh reality, unfortunately, is we do have, a great increase in depression in our culture. And I shouldn't say culture. It is a global issue. I have talked to parents around the world whose children are depressed. They are lonely. They are sad. They are hurting themselves. Some are taking their lives, and that is awful. And if there's anything that we can do to help support that, to be able to make it, a space for them where it brings them joy and happiness and friendship, that's what we want to do for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Well, Richard, do you have anything else that you want to add before we end? We've got about a minute and a half left. Anything that you want to add? Any thoughts that you have about your product? It's a great product. It's super cool.
Yeah, I think it's getting better and better. We are improving like every week, and it's a very different market, right, for us. Very challenging. But yeah, I just want to thank you for inviting me, and I think it's a very exciting topic that we can definitely discuss more. Thank you for just thank everyone who stopped by to say a hi here. Really, really appreciate. And yeah, let's hopefully we're gonna meet again in the night. Hello, Nicole. Good to see you, Nick. And yeah, hopefully gonna see you in the next community meeting, right? Because
Yeah.
always something new to learn.
Absolutely. So, we will be back. Richard and I will continue to share out some things that we're learning about, childhood, loneliness, depression, ways that maybe it can help be combated, and, some solutions to it for schools. And we'll be back. So this was just the tip of the iceberg, the very first conversation. I am having Richard on Parent to Parent at the end of March. Excited about that. And then you'll also get to see him eventually on the 2350 effect as well. So we've already got those plans in place. So you'll learn more about Go Brunch as well as the great things that you can use it for. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks Nick for being here, Josh and Jackie, and anyone else that we did not get a chance to see in the audience. If you're joining us on YouTube or on Facebook, thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a terrific Monday. I'll be back next week. See y'all. Bye.